Hi guys, it's Joe Zamatar with PWC Muscle, and today we're going to be installing a Solus impeller onto our project Sea-Doo Spark. Only really requires normal hand tools that you should have in your shop, with one exception, which is the impeller removal tool. Now this can be found on our website on PWC Muscle, along with the impeller. We'll have a link to those products in the description. The actual ski that we have has the IBR option. If you don't have IBR, you can skip to this time right here, and we'll go ahead and show you how to do the installation without removing the IBR. First step anytime that we're working with an IBR system is to disconnect the battery. The next thing we're going to do is disconnect the IBR linkage. It's this bolt right here, and there's a nut on the other side. This one's 12 millimeter, the bolt is 13 millimeter. And then to remove the bucket, there's a bolt on this side and a matching one on the other. So with those 3 bolts, this whole bucket will be removed. The next step is going to be removing the steering cable from the nozzle. Use a socket and a wrench, it's 10 millimeters. Now that we have the steering disconnected, we can remove the bolts that are holding our nozzle back here and on the other side, and it takes a 6 millimeter Allen key. Now that we have the steering nozzle and bracket off, we can remove the IBR brackets. There's 3 bolts that hold it on, and again it's a 12 millimeter socket. If you don't have IBR, this won't be a necessary step. We have those brackets removed. We have to disconnect our siphon tube, and then there are 3 bolts that are actually holding our pump in place. Once those bolts are removed, the entire assembly will be able to slide backwards. With all 3 bolts removed, we can just take the jet pump out. And begin the actual installation of the impeller. From here, we're going to separate the nozzle from the actual pump. There's 3 bolts holding it together. Again, we're using a 13 millimeter socket. This is going to be the point that we mount into our vise. With the pump in the vise, we can start to take the impeller off. The first thing is to remove the impeller boot. This boot is reverse threaded. Now we can insert our impeller removal tool. It's 23 millimeter. It unthreads with the normal direction. Okay, now we can start to install our new Solus impeller. One thing I always recommend is anytime that you're installing a brand new impeller, also get a brand new wear ring to go with it. That way they can marry to each other and get a better seal. On the new Solus impeller, it does come with a boot of its own. Just make sure you have some fresh anti-seize on these threads so that it doesn't lock up in the future. When you install it, you're going to tighten it down to 125 Newton meters. Good torque wrench, a click style is perfect for doing that. The wear ring reinstalled, we're ready to add on the Venturi, and then from there we can reinstall our pump. Reinstallation is going to be the exact same as the removal. All the steps are opposite. Reinstall the cone. It's just the 3 bolts, and there's only one way to really line them up. And then we'll be putting the Venturi on, which gets torqued to 22 Newton meters on these bolts. Again, there's only one way to line this up. Alright, so with the pump reassembled, we can start to reinstall it. Pretty much all the bolts that we're going to be doing from here on out, you get to torque to 22 Newton meters. Reinstallation is the exact opposite of the removal. Only thing to note is you might want to put some fresh grease on your drive shaft, and any of the bolts that had thread locker on them, go ahead and use some Loctite. Next, we reinstall the IBR brackets on both sides. And again, these can be torqued to 22 Newton meters. Now we put the steering nozzle on, then we'll throw on the bucket and we'll be good to test this thing out. So with the steering nozzle attached back to the bracket, we've reattached our steering cable and then also the tube in the back, and now we are ready to put our bucket back on.
All right.
Alright, and that's it for our install. We're now ready to reconnect the battery and give it a test on dry land. And then it's a pretty warm day out, so I think we're going to take this puppy on the water. Thank you for watching, and thanks again to the Tampa Bay Power Sports for making this build project possible. You can find more on our build series on PWCExtreme.com, where we'll have a full breakdown of everything that we're doing. Also be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, and all the parts again that are featured in this are going to be on PWC Muscle and available in the description. Thank you for watching, and as always, ride fast, ride safe, and we'll see you on the water.